I think the starting point for me to think about a financial system is efficiency. And very often the system gets focused on controlling arbitrage rather than focusing on reducing the pockets of arbitrage through dramatic increase in efficiency in the financial intermediation process. And therefore, I think any system which opens up the floodgates of competitiveness and efficiency rather than trying and blocking arbitrage, I think we will see a system which gets more efficient. Of course, there are issues about risk as we think through that. But essentially, as I look at the Indian financial system, there are two major issues which need to be addressed for increasing efficiency of our system. Number one is the fact that there is an extensive level of preemption in the intermediation process, which the governor rightly defined as the grand bargain. The question is, how do we get out of this bargain where we are doing cross-subsidization, essentially coming out of a state whose fisc is a challenge? So the one issue is, if we want efficiency of the intermediation process to increase, it is clear that the grand bargain needs to become a small bargain. It's too big a bargain right now, which is leading to significant intermediation costs. And in a way, that makes it more challenging. If the intermediation cost of the Indian financial sector is so high, how would the real economy compete with a global economy where this cost is disproportionately high? So that is one issue which we need to address. And the second one is the ownership structure of the banking industry, with 78% or so being with the state-owned banks. And where is the capital going to come from? And the question I have is, are we looking at the whole area of differentiated licenses? Because we, as the political economy, are unable to address the fundamental issues of increasing or reducing the intermediation costs and being able to change the fundamental ownership structures of the Indian state. And therefore, are we trying to do, in a way, a reform by stealth, because a direct attack on the reform process is considered as not possible? And my personal view is, if we want ultimate efficiency of the financial sector, we have to hit at these issues head on rather than do reform what I call by stealth. And that also is another factor which brings us to, if you look at the financial intermediation process, you have essentially two major models. One is what we call as the saver-borrower model, which is money is taken from the saver and intermediated by an intermediary, and the borrower pays a price higher than what the saver gets. And that is the traditional banking model. For a long time, at least up to 2008, we were seeing global markets move to the second model, which was the issuer-investor model. And the objective of the issuer-investor model was to reduce the intermediation spread, and which the saver-borrower model by its natural structure has. But post-2008, when the issuer-investor model got into global trouble, the financial sector regulators around the world have moved more, especially in a country like India, towards the more traditional saver-borrower model. The question is, yes, there are risks of the issuer-investor model, but the intermediation cost of the saver-borrower model, particularly with preemptions in a system like India, are significantly higher. So at some level, as we think about the development of the financial sector and we look at differentiated models in banking and finance, the key question is, what is more important for the system? Is it experimenting and taking more risks with the risks of failure? I mean, some of us have lived through the late 90s, where we had a few thousand NBFCs, many of which went out of business, including some large financial institutions like the UTI, which went through trouble. Therefore, are we as a system, thanks to the experience of the late 90s, as also the global financial crisis, believing that experimentation with different models in the financial system is too risky versus the cost of financial, versus the advantages of paying a higher cost but having a more stable banking system. Therefore, we have to make the choice between which way we want to go. Are we ready to take the risks? Are we ready to experiment, which can bring significant efficiencies to the sector, but with the risk of failure? And it strikes me quite interestingly that each of us banks, ever since we have been in the business, pay a DICGC premium. And the entire DICGC premium has never been used for scheduled commercial banks. It has been used primarily for cooperative banks. And the question I ask, if the failure in this system is so low, why are the premiums so high? And is it another form of cross-subsidization between scheduled commercial banks and cooperative banks? Therefore, finally, the question, therefore, is, are we ready to take the risks by reducing cross-subsidization, but along with that, coming to a situation where there will be risk of failure of micro entities? And how mature are we as a political economy and a financial sector to these risks of failures? And therefore, the decision on new models, whether it is differentiated banks, wholesale, payments, and others, is linked to how open are we to challenge the system. In a way, I think global financial crisis has changed perspectives pretty dramatically and profoundly in favor of stability over experimentation. And we all know the famous Walker statement that the last time you saw innovation in the financial system was the ATM machine. So that kind of a background is holding policymakers to stability over experimentation. But when I think about the future, and I ask myself, what keeps me awake as a bank? Is it new banks? Is it competitors? And my answer is much more. I worry when I go to sleep about a Google, a Facebook, an Apple, a Baidu, or a Alibaba taking away the lunch of most players in the financial system, and how ready is the system and the regulator to take the possibility of disruptive innovation, which will change the landscape of how financial intermediation is done. In some ways, take the ball out of the regulator's hands into the consumer and the market end. And this is the issue. Therefore, I have no doubt that we have to get an intermediation system which is efficient early. If we keep on controlling pockets of arbitrage but not focus on increasing efficiency of intermediation, there is a technology out there which will disrupt our banking model forever.